Episode 8. Hermes, the god of the living logos, the inventor of speech, the connector of worlds, and the father of Pan. Most people see Hermes as a trickster, as a messenger of the gods and the world, as a clever thief, a god of travelers and merchants, but Plato in Cratylus takes us far deeper. Hermes is not just the god of speech, he's the god of connection, the one who binds, articulates, interprets, and carries meaning across realms. And from him, Pan is born, the twofold nature of the word itself, divine above and tragic below. To understand Hermes is to understand how the universe becomes intelligible. 1. Hermes, from the verb εἴρω, speaking as connecting. The usual translation of hearing is to speak, but the verb εἴρω also means to join, to bind, to fasten, to weave into one continuous thread. So speech is not just making noise or talking about what you had for dinner yesterday. Speech is joining the mind to the world, the thought to form, human to human, and the mortal to the divine. And this is why Homer uses the word emisato. He devised, invented, when describing the act of shaping meaningful speech. Socrates says about those mysterious onomatothetes, the ancient mysterious name givers who constructed the language, who joined meanings to things and things to the meanings, that he who invented the joining of meaning, the art of speaking and connecting, is rightly called Hermes from Erin, hence Hermes. So Hermes is the god that makes meaning possible. 2. Hermes as the messenger, meaning in motion. Hermes is not simply a messenger, he is the mediator of meaning, so every act of interpretation is hermetic, clarifying a sign, conveying a message, translating between worlds, crossing boundaries, revealing what lies hidden. And this is why the discipline of interpretation is still called Hermeneutics. Hermes is the very movement of meaning. 3. Hermes and the Logos, beyond the word. To grasp Hermes, we must understand what Logos really means. Modern translations render it as the word, but in Greek thought, Logos is the law of the cosmos, Heraclitus, the ratio that structures number, harmony, and music, Pythagoreans, the power of the mind to unify and discern, the method of truth, dialectic, the invisible architecture that holds reality together. Logos is the study of motion, and Logos is motion. Heraclitus says that ο λόγος είναι κοινός, which means that the logos is universal and common, but most are asleep to it. The logos is not something we possess, it is something we participate in. So Hermes is not the logos, Hermes is the movement of the logos, the joining, the articulation, the transmission, the revelation, the connection, the weaving of cosmic structure into intelligible form. When the logos becomes comprehensible, Hermes is interpreting. When the logos becomes audible, Hermes is speaking. When the logos takes its mythic form, Pan is born. So Hermes is the kinetic axis of intelligibility. 4. Why Hermes can deceive, the dual nature of speech. Plato notes Hermes' reputation. He's cunning, he's persuasive, is capable of deceit. And this is not moral judgment, it is a recognition that speech and reality contain both truth and illusion. So the god of language must preside over both. 5. Enter Pan, the child of Hermes, the double nature of Logos. Now Socrates turns to Pan, the son of Hermes. Pan is not a goat god, he is the full spectrum of Logos. His upper half is smooth, divine, and luminous, the true Logos, the clarity, the harmony, the truth, and his lower half is goat-like, tragic, and this is the deceptive word, the distortion, chaos, fear. Pan is Logos as it appears in the human world, half divine and half broken, but Pan means everything, it is the totality of things. 6. The two halves of Pan. The upper part of Pan symbolizes clear thought, refined speech, truthful insight. This is the Logos of the pure intelligible state, and the lower goat-like nature signals confusion, illusion, uncontrolled emotion, this distortion of meaning. Tragedy actually comes from the word tragos, which means goat. So, and it is tragos sin odi, which means singing. So tragodia, it's tragon odi, the ode of the goat. Socrates says that illusions and lies dwell among the crowd below, the tragic realm where truth and illusion mix. Pan is the Logos when it descends into the human condition and ascends into higher fields of consciousness. 8. Pan as the living Logos, revelation through contrast. Pan is teaching us that Logos is alive. When we rise, we meet his divine half, and when we fall, we meet his tragic half. To encounter Pan is to encounter ourselves, our clarity and confusion, all intermingled. And this is why the word panic is the shock of confronting reality without proper preparation and proper interpretation. 9. Hermes as the axis of consciousness. Hermes stands between the divine Logos above, the tragic world below, and the human being moving between them. Hermes is the psychopomp, the guide of the souls to the place of the dead, the spiritual guide of a living person's soul, because meaning must travel through every realm, from the heaven to thought, from thought to speech, from speech to the word, from the word to the world, from experience to transformation. So Hermes is the very connection of all levels of being. 10. Hermes, Apollo, Artemis and Pan, the quadrilateral of the mind. Now we have a kind of an architecture of consciousness here. We have Apollo, who is clarity, the tuning of truth. We have Artemis, who is integrity, the boundary of the soul and its preparation. And then we have Hermes, who is interpretation, movement, and articulation. And Pan is the total expression of Logos in both its faces. And Hermes here is the central point, the shaft on which the whole mechanism turns and oscillates. Without him, no message from Apollo would ever reach us, no inner sovereignty of Artemis becomes communicable, and Pan remains unintelligible. 11. Who Hermes truly is. Hermes is the inventor of speech, the articulator of meaning, the connector of realms, the weaver of thought into form, the guide of the souls, and the bridge between the gods and the mortals. He is the father of Pan, the living word, the Logos. And he is not a messenger, he is the medium through which reality becomes comprehensible. Hermes is the movement of the Logos within the cosmos and within us. Peace and war, ειρήνη και πόλεμος. Something deeper to close the episode. Since εἴρω means to join, to connect, it also gives the word ειρήνη, which is peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the unity of what has been joined, the soul woven into coherence. War, polemos, from polarity, this is division, fragmentation, and disconnection. Thus, the teaching of Hermes is simple. Where the mind fragments, there is polemos. Where the mind connects, there is ειρήνη. And the path to peace is the path of Logos, the art of joining what is divided and the art of meaning itself. Hermes is the god, the archetype who restores unity to the soul. And now that we have met Hermes, the one who joins, who interprets, who carries meaning across every level of being, we stand at the threshold of a new question. What is it that draws all these meanings together? If Hermes is the movement of the Logos, the next god is the movement of the soul toward beauty and harmony. It is the magnetic center of the cosmos, the one who brings opposites into unity, the one who turns connection into beauty, and the one who makes the cosmos lovable. Next episode, Aphrodite, the power that draws the world into harmony. Where Hermes moves meaning, Aphrodite moves the heart of the world.